And I am live. Sorry, I tried to turn my mic off so that nobody actually hears me in the background. But how's everybody doing tonight? Tonight, we're actually chilling because once again, Steve couldn't make it. He has family issues going on. Hey, Ben. Hey, James. Glad to see you tonight. I apologize. Once again, I am eating because my work kept me late. And Jacob, as I said, you are always welcome. Let me see if I can figure out a way to turn it up a little more. No, I can't turn it up anymore. And I mean, honestly, I'm right up on it. So I don't know how to turn it up anymore. Are you hearing me any better now? But let me flip over and I'll actually listen to it a little. Any better now? I'm hearing it fine. So it's coming over my speakers fine. So I don't know what's going on, Ben. But here comes Nate. And we're going to have us a good old time tonight. Tonight we're not going to talk about a ton of stuff, but we are going to talk about a little bit of the FDA issues, and we just lost Nate again. No idea what's going on here. I've got a couple people invited that I'm trying to see what's going on with them. Okay, I got someone coming from Pennsylvania here in just a little bit. She's going to call in. She said give her a second. I'm going to check it again and see what's going on here because for some reason my audio is low. I don't... You forgot it's Tuesday. Why in the world is going on here? Because for some reason my audio is low. I don't... Maybe it's you forgot it's Tuesday. Why in the world is going on here? Because for some reason... But... that's weird because I'm hearing myself fine over this. I don't know what's going on. I had an issue this weekend with my computer, and yeah, it's echoing a little bit because I was checking the Facebook Live or the YouTube feed. So that's why you were hearing a little bit of an echo. But I'm waiting right now on a couple people, and I forgot to go live on Facebook. But it should be going live here in a minute on Facebook, so we will have that going out there as well. But, so what's everybody up to tonight? But it should be going live here in a minute on Facebook, so we will have that going out there as well. But, okay. I don't know why it's having issues. I'm going to check my mic settings and see if that's what's going on. Because no. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with it because it shouldn't be doing that, but oh well. We'll get it figured out within the next couple weeks. Oh, is that better now? Is that coming over better, guys? Because I'm trying to see what's going on here. Because properties, okay, cancel. Filters, let's see if I can get a booster on this. Okay, is that any better, guys? Is it coming over any better? just play it in the background because I don't know why it's coming over. Okay. I just changed up the gain a little bit on the microphone. But, hey, Jacob, I posted up the link for you. I'll post it again for anybody. If anybody wants to hop in, you're more than welcome. Okay, now maybe we got Nate. Oh, the beauties of technology. Oh, the beauties of technology. See, I don't know why it would be messing up tonight, because I have not ever had any of these issues with my mic. But, oh yeah, it was echoing loud because I had on the Facebook feed. So, you know what? Let me turn off the desktop audio for a second. Until we get somebody in here, I'll just turn off desktop audio. Because I want to hear this. Because this is weird if it's starting to echo like that. Until we get somebody in here, I'll just turn off desktop audio. Because I want to hear this. Because this is weird if it's starting to echo like that. Okay, it sounds like it's working now. Okay, I think I got it fixed. Sorry, I know I'm stuffing my face, but do want to say hi, Bruce. Hi, Steve. Hi, Joanna. Or Jonna. I think this is the first time I've ever seen you on the live feed. Hey, why don't you do like me? I'm eating right on the show. I don't care. But, okay, basically, here's what's going on. There's been a lot of issues that have came up. Okay, I don't know what the heck is happening here. I've never had this issue since my computer crashed. My computer crashed Saturday, so the next couple weeks I'm going to try to fix all the issues this week because I've just been slammed, haven't had a chance to fix all the issues. But let me pull back up the chat. I mean, literally, I'm having a terrible night tonight. Sorry about this, guys. I don't know what in the world's going on. My live chat is just not working the way it should. But, okay, now let's see if Nate's able to get in here. And there's Jacob. Finally, I got people. Now let's see if Nate's able to get in here. I hate talking to myself. Now let's see if Nate's able to get in here. Okay. How you doing tonight, Jacob?
All right. Not too bad. Not too bad.
You might want to turn down your YouTube feed because I think I'm hearing you.
Yeah. Yeah. 1 second. There you go. Yeah, I'm unfortunately updating the computer, so hopefully it don't shut down. So.
Oh, I've had a lot of the same issues. I mean,
let's see what happens.
Just to tell people what happened, on Friday night, I updated my Windows 10. And when I updated the Windows 10, the computer crashed the next morning.
Oh my gosh. This is when you're...
Hey, Jacob.
Hey,
hey Ben, how you doing tonight?
Oh,
now we actually got some people that can talk. Because I hate, you know, Jacob, I'm just like you. I hate doing these live shows by myself.
Yeah, it feels lonely out there when you do that, doesn't it?
Exactly. But Oh, now that we've got some people in here, the developments over this weekend, when it comes, especially, did you get a chance to watch? I know you got a chance to watch it because you did a Made It Right on it. What do you think of Delegate Faircloth's response to the FDA change? I mean, you're right on. A lot of the stuff you said is the same exact stuff Delegate Faircloth was saying.
Yeah, I think it's, we just have to be cautious. That's all.
Yeah. I mean,
there's could be good things, but I don't, you know, we're still going to eventually have to go through a PMTA eventually, but at least that's been put off. That's been put off for a little while at least.
Yeah.
And but nevertheless, we have to be just be cautious. You know, it's good that we have time, but that's about it.
I kind of like Dr. Gottlieb.
Now here's the thing.
In this instance.
Well, here's what we need to remember. Dr. Gottlieb was appointed by the president. So, in he was elected 2017, so 2021, or no, yeah, 2020. 20,
hey.
Was it? Yeah, it was 17. He was elected. I don't know why.
Yeah.
2021. If he's not reelected, it could be bad for us.
Yeah, it could change automatically, couldn't it? Though Gottlieb could stay on, but of course, you know, his policy may be forced to change depending upon the next president. You know, if Trump don't get in.
Am I coming through? Have I officially finally joined?
Yes.
This has been a nightmare trying to get my stupid computer to work with me. I finally had to pull my phone out.
We hear you loud and clear, that's for sure.
My mom's like, sorry the food is cold. Yeah, I didn't get off till like 9:15 this evening, and that shows you guys the type of devotion I have to this show. I get off work at 9:15, drive home, don't even eat, and that's why I eat on the show so many nights.
Yeah, just get it going.
I mean, and that's the whole thing, you know. And that, I agree with you, Stephen. We do have to make sure that Trump gets reelected, and that's what the Vapors have to do. And we have a very special guest. How you doing tonight, Amy?
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good. Been a while since I've heard that voice. Just so everybody knows, let me actually hide your number.
That could be bad.
Yeah. Are you still there?
No.
Just so everybody knows, our visitor on the phone is Amy Cravella. Why don't you tell everybody who you are, Amy, because you and I have a good history.
Well, yeah, I just own a vape shop in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The secretary of the Pennsylvania Vape Association here, and me and Rob worked together at my vape shop for a little while.
About almost a year, Amy. I don't know if you realize it. It was almost a year that I worked there.
Yeah.
But, you know, the thing is, you know, one reason I wanted you on tonight, how are things going up there right now? Are there any updates?
Well,
I haven't heard any updates.
We had a pretty big win here last week. They were trying to push the 15 cents per mil tax on us instead of the 40% tax. They thought that would help us, and obviously that whipped. So our lobbyists are working very hard to make sure that things like that don't happen. So that was a big win and a roller coaster ride the other evening. So 'cause we thought it was going to go through, and it didn't, and thank goodness.
Yeah, I mean, because here's the thing, Amy. I was actually looking into it,
Mm-hmm.
Down here in West Virginia, where I now have my online shop, I pay almost, well, I get distributor prices first off, so I get a lot better of a price than a shop would at small amounts. But at my prices, I pay 100% taxes on my liquids when I buy them. And that's at a 7.5 cent a mil tax.
Okay.
Believe it or not. So that's where going 15%, that'd be a 200% tax on you guys.
Yeah.
I can only put in a
So that
total of
shows how bad
24
that
hours
tax was
this
for you
week.
guys. You know what I'm
So
saying,
so you're paying a 7.5 cent per mil tax on your e-liquid. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
And how and is that feasible for you, or you're
yeah. That's feasible
okay.
at I charge 16.60, and I still get a good profit. You got to remember.
Oh, that's good.
Most of my liquids come from Steve's, so I get distributor pricing.
Right.
Because
well, luckily, a lot of the juice makers here have helped us with the tax, with the 40% tax. Obviously, we can't get any help on hardware, but you know, if you're a smart business owner, you know how to buckle down, and that's what we did. That's why we're still open. But you know, keep pushing forward.
Exactly. So. And I mean, who actually pushed for that one, for that 15 cent a mil tax?
That actually was the Republicans that pushed for it.
What?
It was a little yes, because they actually thought that would help us. Wow. Little did they realize is, you know, all that would do is just push everybody to order online. You know, I think that they just need to kind of leave us alone, because I mean it's a proven record that 120 vape shops have closed due to the 40% tax. No other reason, strictly the tax. There was a lot of research and work involved to make sure that, you know, that was happening. If that's the reason why they were closing. So, you know.
Now, what is the perception right now in Pennsylvania about the FDA decision on Friday?
There's a lot of relief about it. You know, there's some hesitation also. I mean, you know, we're all a little gun shy now when it comes to the FDA and our government, unfortunately. I mean, you know, it's almost as if though, I mean, obviously changing the date is going to help everybody. But are they just looking to go about it a little bit better so they don't look as crooked as they could be? You know? So it's, you know, it's kind of what is their intentions? What are they planning?
It's best to be cautious. Be cautious about Gottlieb's statements. That's all.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, to be honest with you, we're all so exhausted. You know, just trying to keep our shops running, and you know, with between taxes and the FDA and everything, that when there is a win, it's like we're just all a little numb to it.
Yeah.
You know, and which we don't get excited anymore. I guess it's really sad, but you know, I mean, we do, but it's not the excitement that we should have as a business owner, and because every other day you're just hearing something else, and it's tough.
Oh yeah, I mean, even as an online, I mean, if you remember, Amy, the only reason I didn't start online up there was the PA taxes. That's the only reason I didn't start my shop earlier.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this tax it hurt a lot of vape shops. I don't want to say that we're all doing better, no, because we're not. You know, when you're spending, you know, close to between $80,000 and $90,000 just in a 40% tax, and you know, you're scraping pennies to still get by. That's not doing good. That's getting by.
Exactly.
Basically, you go to work to pay the government, and I mean that's how it feels 90% of the time. So, no.
Now, has there been anything going on in Allegheny? Because I do have some viewers still from up there. That's the reason why I'm asking you a lot of things, because where you are involved with the PDA, you've probably heard a lot of the things going on. So,
Allegheny included vaping into the Clean Indoor Air Act, meaning you can vape indoors, which, when we were there, we were fighting for it to be up to the business owner. Obviously, if you own a daycare, you don't want people vaping inside, not because it's toxic, just because, it doesn't look right. And you don't want to vape around infants and things like that, but, but if you own a bar, we found it should be up to the business owner. Like, if they allow vaping indoors, so what? You can vape indoors. I mean, the science is there to prove that, we're no more harmful than breathing fresh air. So, but we lost the battle. And, Kate and Mark from Steel City, I mean, they were there every council hearing. I mean, they fought for it, and, we lost that battle.
Yeah.
We did win, however. They tried to push the Clean Indoor Air Act for all of Pennsylvania this year, and that was actually taken off the table. So that was a small win, but other than that,
they've pushed for that, Amy, almost every single session.
Yeah, right.
We knew it was going to come again.
I mean, when if I have a lady, she has 2 children, and when she comes into my shop, she knows what juice she wants. She runs in, she grabs it, she goes. I mean, with this Clean Indoor Air Act, you're not allowed to do that. It's things like that make it a little bit more difficult as a business owner. Luckily, my shop isn't in Allegheny County. I was just a resident, and that's the reason why I went and I fought. Because I can. When you go to these council hearings, you have to be somewhat, either own a business or be a resident in order to stand up and speak. And so, yeah.
And we got a little celebrity here, because I know she doesn't like talking about it, but she actually got in the paper the first time she spoke on it.
Yeah.
We actually we need more of that. More newspaper articles that are more pro-vaping and things of that nature.
Oh, well, if you've seen some of these photos, just being in Harrisburg this last time, I mean, they took a picture of me, and I was in the paper all right, but I look like the crazy woman. So, I mean, that's okay, That's all right, but, yeah.
And just so everybody knows, Amy is almost like my sister from another mister.
Yeah.
We got really close over those 6 to 8 months.
Yes.
But as long as they read the article, that's all that matters. I'm sure they're not staring just at your picture. I'm sure they're reading the article.
Well, I've learned that it's all about education. I mean, just from even people that don't vape and don't understand it still thought it was wrong to, they understand that we're small business, they understand what our goal is to help people quit smoking. And, when this 40% tax hit, a lot of people came into the shop, just saying, I can't believe they're doing this to you. And it was devastating. Yeah.
I can imagine.
For about 3 months, I didn't think I was going to make it.
Yeah, I did videos of that on the FDA Chrono channel. The hardship that would come out of that, incredible.
Right.
Now, has there been any? If you can't talk about it, don't say. But has there been any mentions of another rally coming up anytime soon?
No, not right now.
Because I mean, those have been great publicity for the industry up there. I don't know if you've seen any pictures from them for any of you, but those pictures up there, you had people coming dressed the way we've all talked about it. Don't come dressed like a hoodlum. Come dressed like you're supposed to come dressed to a Capitol building.
Yeah, I saw your live feed that one time there, Rob. Remember that one
Yeah, I
thing
was
you
able to
did?
get 20 minutes, but the Capitol Wi-Fi sucked, and so did my computer, so it wasn't able to.
But you could see the people that were congregated.
Exactly, and I mean, every one of them, Amy will tell you, were dressed. They weren't dressed to the nines, but they were actually dressed decent.
Well, I mean, we are all professionals here. I mean, the majority of us own businesses, and I don't know if you know, it's hard to own a business, especially in Pennsylvania. You know, I mean, where Pennsylvania is known for taxing. That's just the way it is. If you live in PA, think about spending half of your paycheck to the government, and it's unfortunate, but that's the way it is here. That's why a lot of families move out of here. But everybody was dressed very professional, yes. You know, I mean, granted, when we're working at the shop, we wear T-shirts and everything, but...
There's only two things in life that's definite. Death and taxes.
Yeah, that's the truth.
That's been the mantra for years. So
I don't mind paying taxes as long as I know that they're going to a good cause. But, you know, when you take a 40% tax out of my business, and then, you know, you give yourself raises literally 2 weeks later when after the floor tax was due, I mean, that's kind of a slap in the face, you know? I mean,
oh, yeah.
How else are you supposed to handle that just as a human being? So, and we had to suck it up. We had to take it. And I'm still in shock. For a long time there, it was hard to absorb that. But even still, it's still hard, you know? And I think the hardest thing is, you know, when you talk to these state representatives and they said they didn't know that this was happening to the vape shops. Well, it's your job to know. That's your job.
Exactly. They're the lawmakers that are passing these laws and they're not reading anything.
Right. Yeah. How do you vote on something that you don't know? Yeah. Then you don't place that vote. Then you just don't vote. But how do you vote yay if you 40% tax? I mean, exactly. A 40% tax is going to put a business out of business. Period. And if you don't know that, then maybe you should step down.
Exactly.
You know?
Absolutely.
And I mean, now, I want your personal opinion, because I know that, you know, with your shop not being very big on mechs, you know, literally in the shop, I only remember one that nobody considered a mech, but yeah, I know it's basically a mech just with a potentiometer. That was the only mech she had in the whole shop, and that was the mech zone. And we went back and forth about that multiple times, that wasn't a mech and it was a mech. And but what is your personal opinion on the two pieces of legislation we have federally right now, the 1136 and 2194? If you even have that much knowledge on them. If you don't have that much knowledge, we can talk about them.
She dropped out.
Oh,
lost connection.
Well, she might call back in. But, well, now that it's us, why don't we talk a little bit about what we started talking with her about. I loved having Amy on. She was great to have on here because we don't think of a lot of these things, and this was coming from a business owner.
Yeah.
I mean, normally
she
it's
gives
just
us
Steve and
real
I
insight
on here that are business owners. The rest of you guys are consumers.
Exactly.
I mean, what do you guys think of what's going on? I mean, you know, Nate, you did a great video when it comes to the new release. I know I did.
I'm sorry, the call dropped.
You're cool, Amy. But what did you hear the question I was asking?
Something about the mech mod, and then the call dropped.
Okay. What is your opinion on the two? If you don't know that much about them, I'm not holding it against you either, because I haven't been up there and I haven't really talked to you on Facebook about it. What's your opinion on 1136 and 2194? 1136, of course, is the revamp of the Cole Bishop bill, and 2194 is the Duncan Hunter bill.
Oh, you're asking.
Have you?
Listen, both
I'm
bills.
just asking your personal. I don't know how much you've heard about it or anything like that. Because if you haven't heard that much, just be honest. I mean,
obviously the Cole Bishop bill, I've heard a lot. And heck, I even have it on my bar. But with that, there's pros and cons, but there's pros and cons with everything.
Yeah. In
so
2194, there's pros and cons too.
I didn't even get a chance to read it. I've been so caught up in the 40% tax, and every waking minute it's calling our state reps and dealing with that here. That nationwide, I just haven't had a chance to.
About it. To be honest, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm curious. I was just curious how you had. And basically, what 2194 is, I'm going to simplify it. It's putting us in a completely separate category of tobacco harm reduction, taking us completely out of the TCA, and then the only thing it does is, the big thing that a lot of people are up in arms about is it does make it to where there's regulations to where only really regulated mods would be available, and it puts safety standards on batteries, saying that they have to be a certain one, which honestly, right now, the only one of the 18650s that I know that passes that is the HG2, which, that's one of my big batteries.
Well, I'll be honest. I like MISC mods. I'm not a huge fan on selling them. I don't sell them anymore in my store simply because it's just not worth the liability. I think that a lot of times it gives us a bad rap, especially on Facebook and everything with these stupid videos. Because of course, every MISC mod that blows up, everybody and their mother has to send me the video because I own the vape shop. But there has to be certain standards, and we all need to realize that. There has to be, certain regulations. The problem is when the government gets involved and the FDA get involved, they just go over and beyond what needs to be done. So do I want to put a AA battery in my mod and expect it to work? No, I don't. But, if we left it up to them, that's what they would push for. So it just would be. I would vote against that just because of that reason. But I understand kind of what we're getting at. Yeah. As far as regulations and things like that, and certain standards and safety standards. Everything. It should be. There should be some sort of safety standards with these. I don't want a mod blowing up in my face because there's no safety standards. Is that going to happen? No, because I don't use an unregulated mod. I don't. Just because, I don't want to have to worry about how all of that, That's just my own personal opinion. But
as long as the regulations are reasonable, that's all that really matters. And that's actually how the law is written. As long as they're reasonable. Unfortunately, the FDA upon rule is unreasonable, but hopefully maybe Gottlieb will attempt to try to balance that out, though he does have a lot of people that are tugging at his shirt tails, between the American Lung Association, the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids as well. He has to please that half as well, so he's got a lot of politics that are involved, and hopefully what he's trying to do here, hopefully it doesn't get mixed in with all this other propaganda and all these other agendas. But the main thing is to have reasonable regulations, and if we can keep focused on that, possibly we might be able to make some headway. Unfortunately, we still have to go through the PMTA eventually, and that's, only Congress can change that PMTA in the Tobacco Control Act. He can simplify the language for the vaping industry, but he can't really change the law on it. And eventually, we're going to have to eventually go through that PMTA. He could extend those deadlines into, that now it's August 8, 2022. He could even extend that further out if he needs more studies or whatever. But eventually, we're going to have to bite that bullet. And if we can maybe possibly get one e-liquid or maybe one hardware through that process, then that substantial equivalence with the master file start to kick in. But we still have to get through that PMTA eventually, and that's really the only hurdle that we must face eventually. Outside of that, as long as all the other regulations are reasonable, I think we'll be okay.
Well, if they this new FDA ruling, if they reduce the nicotine like they're talking about, there won't be too many needed for, per nic level as far as turning your PMTAs in. Yeah. So,
the only thing I worry about with them changing the nic levels, and I mentioned this in my video, with them changing the nic levels, that can hurt us or it can help us. It can hurt us for the simple fact they can say, okay, you know what, vaping, you can only go 1, 3, and that's it. They can lower our nic levels as well if they want to.
If they want to, but it is.
What it will also
but they're ignoring the elephant in the room.
Right.
It's not the nicotine. I mean, that's like the dog in the room is the nicotine. We're talking about the elephant. What about the 4,000 chemicals that are in a cigarette? Why is this never being addressed? They're supposed to be there for our safety and our health. Okay, fine. Then do it. If they did that, then I would respect a little bit. But they don't. Therefore, I have no respect for what they're going to come up with.
And that's a good point you made, because they can order or put a directive in there that states that these combusted cigarette companies should start to eliminate all these other chemicals that they use as they process the tobacco plant. They could, the FDA can actually tell Philip Morris USA, cut the 4,000 chemicals. Well, actually, in the internal memos of these tobacco companies, actually 6,000 plus chemicals, but let's leave it at 4,000. If you need to cut these 4,000 chemicals down to 1,000 chemicals, take all the sugars out of the processing, take all these salts and all this other stuff that addicts the smoker. They could certainly do that. They certainly have the power to tell the Philip Morris USA to take all these other ingredients out of their cigarettes. Because you're right. Nicotine does not kill, and it does not harm you. It's as much as like a cup of coffee. It really doesn't. I mean, it affects you physiologically, but it doesn't kill you or harm you.
Right. Not in the amounts that we're vaping. Exactly. I don't even sell, other than my house juice, I don't sell above a 12 nic in my shop.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm there to help, not harm.
Exactly. Most people vape at 3 or 6. Maybe when they first start out, they at 36, 24, but that eventually comes down. I have a coworker that was for a very long time at 24. And I'm into do it yourself, so I've been giving him some juices, for free and I've been putting those levels at 6 and 12, and he's perfectly fine at those levels. So that's really eventually where they wind up being at 12, 6, 3.
Right.
The majority of them don't stay at 36 and 24.
By the way, Amy, just to let you know, you may be getting a 30 mil in the mail in a couple of days if you get my drift of what you wanted me to do.
Yeah.
You get my drift?
I'm picking up with you, Brenda.
I did want to say that in Gottlieb's news conference, if you read his verbatim account, it states in there that he's going to bring down the nicotine levels in combusted cigarettes to close to 0. He can't have it 0 according to the Tobacco Control Act, but he can make it as close to 0 as he likes. And then right after he talks about the nicotine levels with combusted cigarettes, and then he says that there's a line in there, I can read it for you, I could find it on my desktop, but there's a line in there that he states that he will, without altering the nicotine levels in electronic cigarettes. So there's one portion of his news conference that he talks about messing around with nicotine in vapor products, but then there's another line in there that states that he's not going to alter the nicotine levels in vapor products. So that's sort of
do you actually trust that right now?
Well, I'm very cautious about everything he says. In fact, anything the HHS, the FDA, or CTP puts out, I'm cautious about. Okay, but still, I mean, they did put that line in there that without altering the nicotine levels in ENDS products. But that can always change, and that's the other thing. Who knows? They get something like, you have to understand. I mean, FDA Commissioner Gottlieb has a final say, but who's going to be in charge of this whole scientific endeavor is Mitch Zeller. And Mitch Zeller, as we should all know, is dead set against vaping. And I'm sure he has some kind of an angle or agenda that he's going to work his studies into, and eventually he'll probably persuade Gottlieb to go along with the end result. So he may very well bring our nicotine levels down to maybe only 3 or 6 or maybe 1.5.
Yeah. And for the most part, if that happens, is that going to hurt some of these, 2-pack-a-day smokers? Yeah, it is. But you know what?
No,
these people that are smoking now, they know what's going on for the most part. So they either need to jump on board and quit smoking, go to your local vape shop. If the patch didn't work, or the gum, or the Shantex or anything like that, if that didn't work, like it didn't work for me, then they need to go and do it now. But it's available to them, and that's what's key. It's available to them longer, and now that they pushed back these PMPAs, it's going to allow a good business owner to thrive, and maybe it gives people a fighting chance.
Exactly.
Where before it didn't, they cut our legs out from under us.
Exactly.
And hopefully, we have a fighting chance now. Hopefully.
Yeah.
At least we have some time. I mean, 4 or 5 years is a pretty long time. So we have a lot of time to do things with, to bring smokers into the fold, to find the alternative. And one of the alternatives is vaping. I mean,
as long as our government doesn't tax us under, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, see, I don't think they'll put a federal tax on vape. I don't really think they will. A lot of people think that's where it's coming,
they could.
They could. I know they can always do it. But
I mean, I just read a thing in one of the Senate bills for the appropriations bill that the Center for Tobacco Products gets $675 million from tobacco user fees. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of money. So I can imagine what they could do to us if they wanted to.
Now, when you collect money off of a substance that somebody is addicted to, are you considered a drug dealer? So to me, when the government collects all of this money that people are addicted to cigarettes and they count on that addiction, I don't care if you are the nicest, most honest person, it's going to cause corruption, period.
Sure.
And I think that, when they're counting on that money and that money was already spent, it's going to cause corruption. It just is.
Yeah, it suits certain agendas are suited.
Absolutely.
It's those agendas that you have to watch out for. Big Pharma, Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, American Lung Association, American Medical Association, American Lung Society or Lung. Whatever.
Oh, they were at the
all
council
play into
hearing
it.
fighting for the Clean Indoor Air Act for vaping to be in that, and I invited every single one of them. Doctors from Children's Hospital, American Lung Association. I invited every one of them to come into my shop on a Friday night when we were the busiest to test the air quality in my shop. Not one showed up. not
And
one.
they won't.
So if you are so concerned, come to my shop. Where else can you go that would prove, that you can test that would prove that how effective we are as in vaping. If we're toxic, prove it to me. They can't.
Yeah, they're too busy verbalizing all their propaganda to do anything as far as actions.
Exactly.
Right.
They don't care.
You would prove them wrong, and they would not like that.
They don't care about the brass tacks. All they care about is their words. They don't care about the actual brass tacks of it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they were all paid to be there. All of us were not, So, I mean, it just...
But it would contradict their stance. I mean, if they go to your vape shop and they find out that there's no problem, I mean, what are they going to do? I mean, that would defeat their whole purpose.
Exactly. Yep. So.
And that's funny how we think the exact same word at the exact same time still.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, that's the whole thing. People don't really look at things. They don't want proven wrong. I mean, here's another perfect example. I just recently got another doctor, as well as my bosses at work. My doctor flat out, I told her, look, I don't smoke, I vape, and it's safer than cigarettes. She's like, well, and I'm like, roll call your physicians who actually ruled cancer was caused by cigarettes. Ruled this just a few years ago.
But these doctors are tied into big pharma.
Saying it doesn't. And she was like, and next time I'll give you all the information. I told her flat out, you're giving me information, guess what you're getting? You're getting information from me. I'm going to provide you with...
Yeah, but
Amy knows how I am.
But
you
know,
give
the
me
thing,
a chance, I will pop it out at you.
The thing, Robert, is these doctors, these medical doctors, it's pushed upon them to push big pharma patches and prescription and nicotine and things of that nature. They're put in that position to do so, to flourish as well as doctors. It's all tied into like a system. They're not really there. Even if the science looks good for us, they will ignore that because they are in that system along with big pharmaceutical companies and all this stuff. So
not all, because
it's all tied together.
Right now, there is a doctor at where I work that I've had a chance to sit down and actually talk with. I haven't had a chance with all of them, but I've talked with the ones that actually, or with the one especially that really makes the most difference. And I work with cardiologists all day. He actually is starting to come our way.
That's good.
So, I mean, that's the thing. You have to go after the people that it will have the most impact on. And, that's why I'm like, okay, I'll provide you with information, and you can read it or not read it, agree or disagree, but I do my job by giving you the information.
No, that's good. I mean, you just keep at it till it sinks in his head. Because if he can believe it, then he could talk word of mouth. Others can believe it.
A lot of these doctors are just
send patients to me. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say a lot of these doctors are just scared to put their name on the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot to do with it too.
That's true.
The last visit I had to my doctor, I was telling him how I smoked for 15 years, 2.5 packs a day, and switched to vaping, and I haven't had a cigarette in a little over 2.5 years. And he was asking me so much information. He was like, wow, this really sounds like it's really helping a lot of people. And I fed him all kinds of information. We talked about it for nearly 45 minutes. And then the moment I mentioned to him, I said, I actually have the contact of the West Virginia Vaping Coalition president, and she is looking for medical professionals that would be on board with speaking with her. He had no interest at that point.
Yeah.
And it's because they're scared to put their name on the line.
Yeah.
And that's another issue. I mean, but what we have to remember, here's something for you to remember, Nate. I can actually get you the video about it. But in Canada, there is actually a cardiologist in Canada that owns his own vape shop. During the day, he's a cardiologist. At night, he's at the vape shop getting a lot of his customers are his own patients that he tells to come see him at the vape shop after he gets out of the office. So that right there, that might be something to say, hey, look, physicians are on board, maybe not in America, but physicians are on board with this. So that might be something to help you out. I'll see if I can't
send me an article. I'm kind of interested in that.
Article. It's actually a hour-long YouTube video. I believe it was Empire State.
That's actually in the trenches.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, I sure am. That's.
I don't know why.
Listen, when I opened, I just wanted to help people quit smoking and be proud of what I do. And never in a million years did I think, hey, I'm going to be fighting with our state reps and our senators, and and I didn't realize how much of advocacy is involved. But you know what? It every day is a fight, and I'm okay with that. As long as I have strength, I'll keep going.
Yeah.
So, But anyways, I got to put my daughter to bed. But it was nice meeting you all. Yeah. And I hope to
have a good night.
Do this again. All right. Good night.
Great to have you on, Amy. Hope to get you on more often.
Okay. Thanks, Rob. See ya.
See you, Amy.
It's interesting.
That's the type of thing I like to have on here. I like.
Yeah, that's what we need on more on YouTube. Absolutely.
We need to get. That's why I liked when we had our one shop owner on, and I thought, you know what, we've got. For some reason, it keeps freezing.
Could be the bandwidth or something.
They just don't like you.
We handled it for you just fine.
Well, it actually when it freezes on my side, it freezes for everybody, but we get it back. So.
Oh well.
I mean.
Oh, so we didn't handle it.
That was a valuable part of the show too.
That's right.
But I mean, now what's going on your side? Hopefully, if it does it again, we're just gonna cut it off there, and I'll have to figure out why my internet is screwing up like it is. But what's going on in southern West Virginia there, Nate?
A lot of rain.
Getting hit by
there really hasn't been no recent activity that I've heard of. I've been trying to keep up with the WVBC and current news, and the last couple of weeks it's been at a standstill. So quiet isn't always a bad thing,
but it ain't always a good thing either.
It's not always a good thing either. I do know. It's a good thing. I missed the earlier part of the show, and I just caught the last very tail end. Y'all was speaking about Bill Godshaw, so I have no idea what y'all was talking about.
Well, we weren't talking about Bill Goodshaw.
Oh, okay. Well, I know I did get to meet him at the vape out that I went to in Ohio. They invited me up as a special guest, and I did get to speak with him for quite a while. We had a nice long discussion, and he was very interested in getting a hold of the West Virginia Vaping Coalition. He wanted to speak with them, so I'm not totally sure what they got going on, but he was very interested in speaking with them. So hopefully maybe they got something in the works. I know there are 9 vape shops in southern West Virginia right now that does have a lawsuit against the FDA, and I don't know where it's going. I believe right now it's kind of a stalemate, but hopefully maybe there might be a little bit of insight there.
Now, was that part of the Larry Fairclough?
No.
Okay.
No, this was totally separate.
I will say for my viewers, if you want to learn a little bit about the Larry Fairclough case that's going on right now, he does talk about it extensively on Savage Saturday, which is Tristan's show that he does once a week. So, Tristan and I tell Tristan all the time, if I can recommend something of his, I'll definitely do it. which I do always recommend if you are available Saturday night or Sunday, whenever he decides to do it. Tristan's just that way. He'll do it whenever he wants. But he is available, or you can watch that. I will put a link to his, what is the name of the group?
Convicted Vapes?
No. Jacob?
What's that again, sir?
Vaping Legion.
Oh, the Vapor Legion Network, yes.
Yes. I don't know why I went duh there.
It's okay. It's all right.
I'm having brain farts today. Because I guess because I worked so hard today, I got off at 9:15. I pulled a 10 and a quarter hour shift.
Nice.
And that's normal for me. But I do want to invite all three of you if you want to come. We're not going to talk advocacy. It's going to be very laid back, chill time. I'll be on here Saturdays doing chill time at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah, Nate, I know your kids are up. If you can't make it, I understand.
Yeah, I've got a small football team.
But we will have chill time from 7 and sometimes going till 9. But 9 is the latest I'll do it. And I'm going to put it out there just so everybody knows. The only place you will see me from now on is the Vapedom. The Vapedom and a few select Facebook groups. That's the only places you will see me from now on for a while. Until I have some talks with some people. So,
Minuteman, did you get a message from you-know-who back?
Just those that I showed you.
Oh.
Yeah. But, so, that'll be where you'll see me, and I'll be honest, the video I did of the State of the Channel address was the reason that State of the Channel address came out, and I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to put it out there. They were coming, some people came after me because of you, Jacob. And I flat out told them, that's why I said in my video, I don't care what you think. If you don't like it, get out.
Yeah. Well, you're telling it like it is. That's all that matters.
Exactly.
Either some will get it, some will not. That's how it goes.
And everyone on here except for you was abreast to the situation of what's going on. So everybody here knows what's going on. But, so what do you have coming up, Nate? I mean, I'm sure you have a few things coming soon.
Yeah. Next up on the agenda, coming up on the channel, I am doing a review on, I'm actually doing a review on this, not the mod. I've already done a review on that. It's going to be the Gen 2 Apocalypse by Armageddon. And I know there are a ton of videos out there, and I wasn't going to do a video on this at all. It was just my personal use. But there's a story behind it, and I'll get into that in the review. But long story short, I do have a friend, very close friend. He's in my Facebook group. He's been a big part of it, just passed away. And about 2 weeks before he passed away, he asked me very thoroughly a few times to do a review on this just because he wanted to see my thoughts on it. He already had one. He loved it, but he wanted me to do a review on it. He begged me to, and I'm going to do that. So that's coming up next. And right after that, I'm going to be actually doing a review on Smiley e-liquid. And I've got a few things. I've got a few things coming up, but that's the two coming up here very, very soon.
And just so everybody knows, both Jacob and Nate have reviewed Minuteman e-liquid, and both of them have loved it.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
Right now,
I'm doing it too.
Did yours ever arrive? Your new shipment?
Yes, I did. Yes, I got it. Let's see, what was it? I think on Saturday.
Okay, good.
Very good. Yeah, all 60 ml bottles.
Pardon me?
All 60 ml, every single one.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That's what we had planned.
Yeah, that was very nice.
And I'll tell you right now, my coffee, don't worry about going sparingly on the coffee anymore. Now you got 60 mils.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know Nate liked the coffee.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing coffee vape. I really, really enjoyed that coffee vape.
Now,
Yeah,
here's
that's
the
what this
question.
is.
This is going to be a good. Yeah, he still has the old label.
Yeah. I'm getting through it.
But here's the question. I've been wanting to ask you, and I want to ask it live. I don't care what your answer is. You just reviewed another coffee. Which one's better? And be honest.
Which one? Between the 60 and the...
Nate had just reviewed
Nate.
another coffee recently, or was talking about it.
Oh, yeah, I did. Just my personal preference, and this is not because I'm on your show, because you should know by now, and anybody that's ever watched me, I tell it like it is. I don't give a shit what people think. That's my job. I'm a reviewer. I give you my opinion, and if my opinion thinks it sucks, I'm going to tell you it sucks, and I've already said I like it. I do prefer yours over the one I just tried. And the reason being, there is a reason behind that. It's not that there is any less quality or their cloud production isn't as good. It's just myself, I am a coffee drinker. And when I drink coffee, 90% of the time I drink black coffee. And your e-liquid, your coffee profile is the closest thing I've ever got to an actual black coffee. I mean, in my opinion, it trails off at the end. You get a lot of rich vanilla, but from the inhale and most of the exhale, it's just a very decadent black coffee bean flavor, and I love that about it.
That's what I was going for. I was going for more the espresso side of coffee than a regular coffee, because I don't know if you've been on here when I've told the story. Steve used to have an e-liquid called Morning Espresso, and that was one of my favorite e-liquids. Well, I had bought it at VCC PA the first time I went, and when I first met Steve. A couple of weeks later, I wanted to buy Morning Espresso. It was discontinued. He had a few 6 Nick bottles laying around, and he just sent them to me. He was like, dude, this was before Steve and I got close. He was like, dude, these are discontinued. I don't sell them anymore. I'm just going to send them to you. Well, when I started DIYing, I told Steve, I was like, Steve, I am going to make one as good, if not better, than Morning Espresso. He's like, yeah, right. Well, Jacob has been on here when I've told this story before, and Steve will flat out tell you it's very close, if not a step above Morning Espresso. And
it's a good vape. I enjoy it.
The funny part about it, and Jacob can't believe it, and you're going to laugh when you hear this, I started DIYing March of last year. Those came out in August of last year.
You're a quick learner. Yeah, you completely blew me away when every single juice that he on his line, the Minuteman line. I mean, in fact, and I said this before, no offense to Steve, but his Minuteman line is better than Steve's. I hate to say that, but it's true. That's how good it is.
Hearing it.
Yeah. That's how good it is.
And see, that's the funny part, because Steve's been in the business for years.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
And me, I just have the palate of a chef, and that's that's what I'm going off of, is my chef palate. So, yeah. I mean, that's the difference. I've had years of looking at food and knowing what food tastes like, and just taking that and seeing. When Amy was on here, she used to be a baker. I can tell you right now, she would be an amazing mixologist, because she has the palate of a baker.
Yeah,
she would be amazing, and I've told her this in the past. I was like, you would make fantastic e-liquid.
There was a line I used to deal with a lot. I've done a few reviews for them in my earlier days, and they actually came out with a flavor profile that I requested just as a personal flavor one time, and he liked it so well that he put it out as a beta under the name of Pea Butter Anonymous. after it was anonymous. And he got such good feedback that he put it on his line permanently and turned out to be one of his top sellers. But he was a chef, and they had an amazing line. Unfortunately, they aren't no longer around. They had some real life things got in the way, and they had to let go of the line. But it was the same thing. He was a chef, and they had an amazing line.
And I'll say the line. I don't mind saying it because they were great mixologists, and that's Fluent Vapors. I mean, they were, and that is another company that, you know, when I did my State of the Channel address, which I love the way I thought of that, because if you noticed, I put the logo in the back and did it almost like a State of the Union address. That's what I was thinking when I was doing it, because I always talk with my hands, and I'm a politician, so...
That's what I thought when I saw that title. I thought of the
I kind of thought that was pretty obvious what you was going for there, and it looked nice. It did.
But the whole thing is, they are one of the ones that you need to remember when we are fighting, because, you know, probably part of the reason they got out of the game when they did was because of the FDA final rule. Because if you noticed, they got out of the game right around the time the FDA final rule came out. Not long after. If you really think about it, Nate, they weren't long after the final rule.
Well, I had a pretty good relationship with Lee and Laurel both, and I'd spoke to Lee very, very frequently. We talked a lot, and I do actually know the story behind why they had to let it go. It was just life got in the way, man. You know, he was a chef at the restaurant he was at, and it come down to he was pretty much they turned the kitchen over to him, and he was more or less running the whole show.
Yeah.
And it was just Laurel and Lee. They didn't have any other employees. It was just those two, and they worked night and day. They worked all day long, and they come home and they worked all night. And it just got too much. Once he took over the restaurant, it was sad, but, you know, he just didn't have time. Real life comes first, and
you
that
know,
was the bread and
Jacob
butter.
Has been hard on this person, but I'll tell you another amazing mixologist. He's only been hard on her one time, but Dawn from Adore, she is an amazing mixologist. You know, if you really look at a lot of our e-liquids out there, we have a ton of amazing mixologists that aren't even on the big stage, that are on the smaller stage. And honestly, I think, you know, this is my personal opinion, I think a lot of those bigger stage companies are lower quality e-liquid.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Like 5 pounds. I never liked 5 pounds.
Absolutely. As a reviewer, I've tried, you know, I've reviewed for companies like, just for instance, like Cutwood.
Yeah,
that's,
Cutwood's
you know, the top shelf stuff that you're paying an arm and a leg for. You got to donate a kidney to get a 30 mil. And I'm not saying nothing negative or derogatory against their company. They do have good liquid. But I have done lots, and personally, I like to support small business. I always have from the beginning. And I've done a lot of reviews for smaller companies and liquid lines that has not been out long, like Minuteman. And there are some amazing, amazing products out there that just get overlooked because they don't have the notoriety and the publicity that all these other companies has. And it all comes down to money. That's all it is. The big companies have more money and more backing, and we all know that there's something there. There's always somebody behind the scenes.
I mean,
the only thing
honest,
Cutwood
Nate,
put out was unicorn milk.
I know you. Yeah, I know
that's the only one.
You've probably reviewed unicorn milk.
Yeah.
Put unicorn milk against, I believe it's Insight. Or Inspiration. I forget which it is.
Insight. No.
Okay.
The strawberry cream.
Yeah.
No.
Put unicorn milk against Insight. Insight wins every time. I was originally, when I first started vaping, I went and I would buy every 2 weeks 2 30 mils, because that's all the shop I frequented carried, 2 30 mils of unicorn milk every 2 weeks. When I get paid, that'd be the first thing I'd do, is go buy a couple coils and buy unicorn milk. Well, when I found Smiley, they had Psycho X Drama Queen, which is now basically Insight. And I dropped Cutwood completely because Psycho X didn't gunk up my coils like Cutwood did. I was able to go through a coil once a month instead of once every couple weeks.
The other thing that I like about the Insight is you can vape on very low builds, because I've always built like 1.1 to 1.25. Unicorn milk cannot handle, at least not on very low builds that I've found. They can't handle that. It loses its taste. It falls apart on that coil. At least that's what I found. Now, if you're vaping at like a 0.5 in a tank, unicorn milk is great. I mean, that is great liquid in the tank.
Coil like crazy.
Well, it does, because of the sweetener in there.
One Hit Wonder came out with another e-liquid.
No.
They came out with another one.
Well, I never tried the what is that thing? The Wonder or the Policeman, or I never tried it.
I forget what the new one is.
I heard it was nasty or whatever.
I think their newest was Policeman.
No, they came out with a new one since then.
Yeah, they just released it, what, a week ago or so?
Yeah, Matty Ice always puts them down. Overrated is what he says.
There's two I like from them.
We're talking about juice companies, and the major problem with juice companies, and I spoke about this on my vlog I put out the other night. I know Minuteman watched it, and I know a lot of your viewers aren't my viewers, so they probably didn't see it, so I'm just going to mention it, and I'm not going to make it a big thing. But we got 5 years, and that's awesome. But now's a big time we need to pull together, because there's a lot of divided nations throughout the vape community. And one big problem, and I've always complained about it, and I know a lot of people do, and I know at least Minuteman agrees with me, and I'm sure y'all probably will too, is the branding. I know, at least I like to hope, that a lot of these companies are not intentionally branding toward kids, but it damn sure looks like it.
Yeah.
And anti-vaping right now, their number one propaganda that they're using against vaping is marketing to children. That's their thing. That's their biggest thing right now. And I don't believe that these vaping companies or the vaping community is marketing to children. But when you have companies like Bubble Jug, for one, that's a real fucking thing. Bubble Jug is a bubble gum. The liquid is called Bubble Jug. It comes in the exact same style jug that the gum comes in. Candy King. I mean, all these companies.
Yeah. Chi-Town.
We have tried to get these companies to stop. And Candy King swears they're going to, and I still have yet to see anything from that, any change. But they still may. I give them the benefit of a doubt. But we're not going to change the company's minds unless we stop supporting them. And the main way to stop supporting them is these bullshit brick and mortars. Because there's a lot of brick and mortars out there, some really good people, and they do a lot of good things, like the lady we just spoke to. And I know a lot of them that's really pushing advocacy, and really they're at these hearings and they're speaking to legislators one-on-one FaceTime. And then there's these brick and mortars that they're just out for $1. And these companies, these brick and mortars that's doing nothing but heavily pushing the Candy Kings and the Bubble Jugs and the Pokeball mods and the Transformer mods, they do that for money. And if we keep supporting them, that's supporting the companies that's putting out all of this bullshit products. Exactly. The only way we're going to get these companies to stop doing what they're doing, we can email and we can get on Instagram and Twitter and bash them all day long. That's not going to help. The only way we're going to get these companies to stop is to stop supporting them. If that means we got to stop supporting these bullshit B&Ms that's pushing this shit, there's plenty of other good brick and mortars out there that's doing wonderful things for the vaping community. And I'm not going to ramble on no more because this is your show.
No, I agree 100%.
I'm sitting here agreeing with you.
And for that point, I'm going to subscribe to you, by the way. Absolutely.
Thank you, Jacob. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to tell you right now, I just found it. The new one is Island Man. It's a fruit punch.
Yes, that's it.
And it's 100 mils for $25. But it's probably pure sugar.
Well, I mean, I've tried One Hit Wonder. I've tried, I think, 2 different profiles of theirs, and I honestly wasn't that impressed. The hype, it was really, really hyped up in the beginning for One Hit Wonder. Everybody talked about them, and I finally tried them, and I personally wasn't that impressed.
No, me neither. I mean, Sinful Apple Roll was 10 times better than Muffin Man.
Take that back.
I am not taking that back.
That's one of the only ones I liked from One Hit Wonder was Muffin Man.
But at least one thing about One Hit Wonder that you got to give them is they're doing their own thing.
Yeah.
They do have a gimmick, which is their Man series, but it's not a bad gimmick. You know, I'm all about branding, and I don't mind flashy branding as long as it's not ripping off a company that, again, can go back to anti-vaping pushing against us.
I mean, if you want to be flat out honest, we have a gimmick with Minuteman. If you want to be honest,
yeah, well, yeah,
we have a drink line. We have the root beer float. We have the lemonade. We got the Arnold Palmer. They're adult drink lines. We got coffee, but it's a drink line. that's the gimmick in a sense.
And honestly, the branding that these companies are doing, marketing wise, it's a smart strategy. It is, just because, and I say that I don't believe they're intentionally marketing to children. I don't believe that, because when you see, let's just say, take for instance, what was that one that Candy King put out that was the gummy fish?
Mm-hmm.
But when you see something like that, when we're in a vape shop, that does catch the eye. And the first thing it makes you think of is stuff that you're familiar with, that you used to have. And it is smart marketing. And I don't believe they're intentionally vaping to children, because most vape shops, 98% of all vape shops I've ever went into, whether it was a good one or a bad one, has a sign on the door right there front and center, face level, that says 18 or older, underage, not permitted, ID required. Most vape shops do ID. So the fact that they're marketing to children, I think, in my opinion, is bullshit, because most shops you go into, good or bad, don't let kids in the shop. I have seen some that do, but most don't. But again, it all comes back to, that's what anti-vaping can use against the non-vapors that's looking at this, the voters that's saying, they are marketing to vaping. My kid likes that.
Yeah, the propaganda.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, that's the whole thing. You know, we have to look at
campaign for tobacco-free kids.
A good example is, in my group, someone had posted a picture of an RDA that looked exactly like a Minion. I mean, it was designed as a Minion, had the face, it was yellow, it was rounded. It was a Minion. And I was sitting there, me and Jennifer was bitching about it and complaining to one another, and which the post did get removed. But our little girl just happened to be sitting there, and she's 10, and she looks over, and she's like, oh, that's cute. If there was someone, if we was out in town and there was, let's just say, a legal figurehead that happened to be standing beside us, and our little girl said, oh, that's cute, that right there would have been something that could have been a headline.
Exactly. Now, I will tell you, there is one gimmicky mod out there that I personally would love to get my hands on, but I don't feel it's marketing to kids.
Is it a Star Wars one?
No. The classic Nintendo controller mod.
They have that at our local shop.
Yeah, I saw that. That's weird looking.
The classic Nintendo controller, I can understand. Simply because, let's be flat out honest, how many kids today know the classic Nintendo controller?
Yeah, everyone who played that by now is 18 or older.
Exactly.
I had one of those when I was a kid.
So, I mean, the classic Nintendo controller, I can understand. But like you said, the Pokeballs, which, honestly, yes, 18 or older like Pokemon. It's been around a while, but it's still popular with kids.
Oh, yeah, it has. It totally has, and I agree with that. But the thing is that Pokemon itself as a cartoon and as a card game is marketed to children. That's what it's for. It's a kid's show. It's a kid's game. And you see somebody walking down the street vaping on a Pokeball, and you're a news reporter, the first thing you're going to want to do is throw that camera up and say, here's someone with a mod that's marketed to children.
And, like, you know, there's one mod I'd love to have, but I don't want it made. And if I had it, I wouldn't take it out of the house. And that's simply a Ninja Turtle mod.
I've seen that.
I'd love to have one.
I've seen that.
Never take it outside the house.
I've seen one that was a transformer of Optimus Prime, and it actually transformed and still functioned. But again, Transformers, even though we as adults relate to it because that's what we grew up watching on cartoons on Saturday, and now they're real life movies, and most of us like them, that were familiar with that as a kid. Again, it's a child's toy. Exactly. And in my opinion, that does not need to be in the vaping community. It does not need to be marketed. And I know most of these, especially the Pokeball mods, they're made by distributors in China.
Yeah.
And China does not have this problem that we're having right now. And frankly, I don't think that they give a shit about what's going on over here, so they're going to sell it over here. Yeah. But it has nothing to do with them.
I will tell you, I think a lot of them are not being made overseas, because I know there's a lot, because I have a friend that wanted a Eeyore mod, which again is marketing toward kids. I'm sorry, Eeyore is still marketing toward kids. It's a Disney character, for goodness sakes. But, well, let me rephrase that. I had an ex-friend that wanted one. Well, she could not find a Pokeball, a Minion, anything like that here local. She had, or, well, overseas. She tried to find it online. She could not find it. She found someone local in PA that was a mod maker that bought a builder's kit and would take the actual toy and turn it into the mod. So I think a lot of those are actual mod makers that are local. Because, like, I know the one that makes the Nintendo mod, it's one guy that's local, and he goes and tries to find, any chance he can, he tries to find the classic Nintendo controllers, gut them out, and turn them into a mod. So I think a lot of those are the locals as well. But they're just...
Indoor Smokers did the Transformer review.
Oh, see, I haven't seen that Transformer.
Yeah, that's about a month ago or so.
So maybe that one is made overseas. But, I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, a lot of them are being made here local, but it's local mod makers. And to be honest with you, when you buy from a local mod maker that's doing this, you have no guarantee on it whatsoever. You're going to spend the amount that, like, I could go out and buy this RX2/3 tomorrow and pay $30 to $60 depending on where I bought it. Probably closer to 60 to 70, but I'm just saying 30 to 60. But you couldn't just go out and buy a Pokeball probably for less than that. You could spend a lot more with less of a guarantee than you have on a classic mod.
Oh yeah, and I know the exact Ninja Turtle mod you're talking about. The back shell opens up to reveal the battery sled.
Oh wow! See, I haven't seen one. I've wanted.
Oh really?
Yeah, I haven't seen one.
Yeah, I've seen exactly. I have seen a Ninja Turtle mod. It was probably this tall. The back shell opened up. I know exactly how it's made. And fuck, for that matter, let me look here. I got some kid toy right here beside me. Little girl was in here playing earlier. I could take that same RX2/3 and put it in this fucking frozen doll, it doesn't mean it's fucking right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's just that this community is not the place for it. And I know that Ninja Turtle mod, I watched a video on it, and the guy that made it was a U.S. maker. He was just he was a modder, had his own business, just him, and he didn't make it for a kid. The person that put in that order was a grown man like me and you that just love fucking Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
He's not marketing to children, but anti-vaping sees that mod, and that's a kid's toy. Kid's toy turned into a vaping device. But the Nintendo controller, yeah, I agree with you. It's cool as shit, and they are dope. But it relates to us. Again, that relates to our generation because we grew up playing the Nintendo.
And JH, you know, he brings up the point that we brought up about how he says, no, it's not a children's toy, but as a mod, no. And that's the whole thing. You know, yeah, it's not, I mean, because you can go out, you can buy, I mean, they sell collectible Pokeballs. I don't know if you've seen that. They sell collectible metal Pokeballs. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, Grant Thompson, the king of random, which, you know, I'm not just vaping. I watch a ton of different types of YouTube videos, and that's one of the ones that I watch all the time is Grant Thompson. And he literally took a Pokeball and casted it out of metal himself. So, I mean, there's Pokeballs out there that are, and he was given the Pokeball to cast it out of metal. But, I mean, that's the whole thing. You know, we got to look at everything and say, here's the question that we all need to ask ourselves when we purchase something. What is best for the community?
Exactly.
Not what is best for me. That's where this industry has gone astray. And I think Jacob will agree with this. We are too much me.
Yeah, very self-centered.
What is best for the collective?
Yeah, for the collective whole. Yeah.
As I'm going to use one of Spock's words, one of his phrases, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And
especially in this day and time, that's for sure.
And that's why I get so hard not on the people themselves, and I think I think I know you well enough, Jacob, that you are thinking the same way. But I get hard on people for doing things. I don't bring out names like you do, Jacob. I mean, I don't agree with.
That's just on the channel. That's not one channel, you know.
Yeah, I don't agree with going after the names of the people. I agree with going after them without names, but you have to look at stuff, and this is what we all have to remember: is what is best for everyone, not just for me.
Especially now that we're under a microscope, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, that's the thing. If it wasn't so heavy right now with the FDA and all that, it'd be one thing. But because we're under that microscope, we've got to be cool, you know. We gotta think of it as a whole.
Exactly, and that's why. I mean, that's why I don't go after you hard when you're going after these companies. Because I'll be honest, I may not agree with going after them, but I see where you're coming from. You're coming from the point of view what is best for the community, and you're coming at them that way, and I understand that.
Exactly.
It needs to be done.
And I'm going to have to get off here in just a second, but I am going to just say one more thing to add into that. I totally agree with what you're saying, and I've said it 100 times. If you follow my channel, you would have heard me say this 100 different times, is if it was a different time frame, I would have no problem with the gimmicky marketing. I would have no problem with the mods. But just as Jacob said, we're under a microscope. Right now, we should not have this. It shouldn't be a thing. Right now, this is hurting the vaping community. I would say it's one of the top 3 or the top 2 things that is hurting the vaping community. If it was a different time, I'd be all for it. But it's anti-vaping. That's right now, that's the biggest picture.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not saying vaping needs to conform to any rules, but we need to watch our ass. And we need to be careful of what we put out there. That's why every video I do, near the end of the video, I always say, make sure to put your best foot forward. Educate every chance you can get. Putting your best foot forward right now is not just for you. It's not for me to look good. It's not for you to look good. It's for the community. And if this is going to last, and this vaping thing that we all love and that is helping every one of us and has stopped us from smoking, if we want this to be around and we want this to help our future friends that are still smoking, that one day is going to decide, I want to give this a try and it can help me quit. If we don't pull together and we don't get our shit straight, they don't have a chance to try this.
Exactly. And that's
Absolutely
what
right.
I flat out say. We need to remember. I'm going to use that same phrase because I think it falls so perfect here. Remember those who have passed in the past of lung cancer or any other smoking-related illness. We have to remember those individuals who have closed shop because of either FDA or state and local taxes. We have to remember those billion lives that could die within the next 70 to 80 years if we do not do our job today and save vaping. That's why I am so hard on pushing advocacy on this channel. Because it's not just always looking at what's going on right that minute. It's looking at what's going on down the road. Just like the Alamo.
Yeah.
You know, the Alamo got defeated. Everyone died there. But that invigorated the Texans to get independence for Texas from Mexico. And that's the type of attitude we as vapors need to have now.
It really is. We've got to start looking at the bigger picture. That's just bottom line. We've got to start looking at the bigger picture. But guys, again, Minuteman, I really appreciate you having me on, but I do got to get out of here. But it's been a pleasure.
Remind everybody where they can find you before you head out.
Okay, yeah.
Close out now.
For sure, guys. If you want to check me out, I do have a vape review channel. It's Ohms Anonymous Vape Reviews. All you got to do is Google Ohms Anonymous, and you'll find me. Just look for my ugly mug. But, I review, I do vlogs, I talk some shit, and sometimes I get a little bit worked up, as you can see. So, but definitely, guys, check me out. Drop me a like and a sub if you like it. If you don't, that's totally cool, too, whatever. But I appreciate you having me on, man. It's always a good time, Jacob. It's always fun.
You and Jacob have every week invites anytime you want to come on. So,
as always, I appreciate that, man.
So anytime you have the time, we'd love to have you on here.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you having me on. Y'all have a good evening.
You too.
See you later, guys.
See ya.
But yeah, Jacob, you got any big videos coming out here soon on either of your channels?
Not that I know of. I have yet to watch one or two more on the Gottlieb conference, and
I'm actually surprised.
Hopefully they'll make it on the What's that?
I'm surprised my video on it didn't get a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Oh, your video on the made it?
Yeah. No, I mean the one that I did for the FDA.
Oh yeah. Oh, you didn't get thumbs up or thumbs down
from you?
Oh no, that was good. That was a good video.
No, what I meant was I was surprised you didn't do either. Find something either way.
Okay. Well, I'll give you a thumbs up. I just never. I watched it, and it was good, and I left it at that.
But I mean, that's the whole thing. You know, people got to realize we're going to be flat out honest with you, no matter who we are. Some of us want to put sugar plums and gumdrops on advocacy, but I'm just flat out tell it like it is. If you don't like it, screw you.
Go fuck yourself. To be quite honest. No, but, and it seems like the only few channels that are consistently doing this is the Vaping Legion Network, your channel, Vaping Minute Man, and the Megabyte series, and some other, FDA Final Rule channel. Seems to be really the only ones that really come to mind that consistently speak about the issues.
Well,
and tell it like it is as well.
That was the reason this was created. I mean, this channel, like I had said in my video yesterday, it was created when there were no advocacy.
Yeah, you were around way
people coming out. There were no people out there telling our individuals how to fight. There were people telling them go out and fight, but they weren't telling them how to find out who their legislators are, other than going to CASA and let CASA tell you. You have to know how to do it other ways, and that's how the channel was founded. Maybe now that I have the new software, maybe I'll go in and redo some of those and do new ones. But I mean, now one thing I do plan on doing probably sometime this week, if I get off at a decent time one night, I have to rewrap some batteries. So I'm actually considering doing a rewrap video. Teach people how to rewrap their batteries.
That's good.
Because that is something that you need to learn.
Yeah, these are all rewraps here.
Yeah, I mean, let me see.
I do anything. Anytime I see a little tear, that gets rewrapped. I don't mess with that.
I can't find mine.
Well, that'll be a good thing, because people need that. That helps. That's like an indirect advocacy, because you're basically saying this is the way. So you roll your lower, and boom, it's done. At least that's what I use. I cut it just a little bit, so it's not too much on the ends, and just take it and blow dry the thing, and boom, it's done. This takes a second.
Right here next to me, if I don't fall. I mean, literally next to my.
Oh, there you go. Well, there you go. That's right. And it only takes less than 10 seconds to melt it into place.
And
but it's a little thing like that can save a life. Believe me.
Exactly. And I mean,
we're saving arm.
People don't. I think a lot of people that don't rewrap are kind of scared to rewrap. Honestly,
there's nothing to it.
Right,
really
but I think the thing is, so many people say,
the key
batteries are so dangerous.
The key is mainly this little white thing here. You can buy them on IMR batteries. That little white piece on the top. You have to make sure that's there. But if you buy them brand new, all you have to do is stick them right on there.
Yeah, or just do what I do. I reuse them.
Well, reuse them. Though it's a little more difficult sometimes to have it stay in place, but
well,
you buy the new
ones.
All I
do is I will just this is how I take care of it. Is I will leave it on there, and then after I get it off, I hold that on just in one little place, because I cut before I take the wrap off. I figure out my size beforehand, and then I cut the size I need. And what I'll do is, once I put it in there, I'll spray it first, or I'll hit it with the heat in one little corner first, and then I'll hit the other corner and
hold it in place.
It down. So then you don't blow it away when you're doing that one side.
Let's see if I can find those little tabs. I'll show you what I mean by it.
Because I've never went out and bought them. So they come with sticky tack on the back or something.
Yeah, I'll show you. Let me see if I can find it. And they're very cheap. You can buy them for like. Let's see if I can find it here. You can buy it for practically nothing.
I mean, this is a perfect example. I mean, if you look here, these are rewraps. Because I have clear rewrap. I have clear. I have yellow, blue, green.
Yeah, I usually just use. Black, but I'll show you what it looks like. And you get IMR batteries, like 99 cents for like about 10 of them.
Oh, see, I got like 1,500 for like $8.
Well, no, I'm talking about these little white tap things.
Okay.
So what it is it just comes off here. Let me see that, and it sticks right onto the top of the battery thing.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah,
So much
I've
easier.
never used those.
Because I used to do what you used to do, and it was a pain in the rear end. So I just didn't. Yeah, you get them on IMR. I can't remember what they're called, but you'll find it on the IMR Batteries website.
Oh, okay.
And then of course you just take your wrap, and then of course you know that. Boom, boom. You just clip a little bit off because you don't want too much overhang, and 10 seconds is done.
And I mean, it's the same shrink wrap, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's all the same.
Just a big shrink wrap of what they use in the mods.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
so,
pretty much so, probably. Yeah.
It's really easy to do, and you know what? Yeah, I will do that video in the next couple days. I'm not going to do it live. You know what? I might just do it live. I don't know.
Oh. The main thing is you put it out there because you'll help someone. Because a little tear can do some serious damage to you. People don't realize a little thing like that, because the whole portion of the battery, as we know, outside the top, the entire part here is all negative.
Yeah.
And if this is at all touching your mod, the metal part of your mod in any way, well, especially on a tube mech mod,
you can get an arc.
Or get more than that.
Yeah. Well, you get an arc, it's going to get a hard short. You get a hard short, you're going to get venting.
Then you're in trouble. Then it's going to be
honest, I've dreamed
thermal
of venting
runaway.
a mod. I have actually dreamed of venting a mod and destroying my mod.
You know, the funny thing is, I don't know, this is a couple years ago, I had one of these guys here. I had to buy another one, but it was a yellow one I had. One of these box mods, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, I wasn't paying attention. And when I put the batteries in, it was yellow, the one I had. You know, you put the positives up, right? Well, I wasn't paying attention, and so I put one up and one down. And that thing sparked, and I, thank goodness, automatic reaction threw that goddamn thing across this room. Yeah. And it didn't catch fire or anything, but it sparked so much that it literally melted the battery wrap, of course, and then it melted the wiring inside.
And it was user error. I mean, that's the whole thing.
Yeah, and that was my fault, of course. But I wasn't paying attention. But a little thing like that could very well blow up, especially if it's a thermal runaway on your tube.
Yeah.
I mean, then you're in serious trouble. Forget about it.
But you know what? We're already 11 minutes till midnight. So, Jacob, remind everybody who you are, where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on the FDA Fundable channel and the Make It Right series. You should know by now the Make It Right series. I'm not going to even explain that. And I do have a live show every Tuesday night, 7 p.m., 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And don't have to explain that either, I don't think. So.
No, because people watch it, and I mean,
well, not so much watch it, but they know about that.
Yeah,
that guy over there
they know that I come and talk in your chat,
yeah.
And yet nobody comes and trolls me.
Yeah. Well, what I meant by is that it's like we know that other guy over there on that Make It Right series, so I don't need to really explain myself so much with that.
Yeah, but I'm actually surprised nobody trolls me.
The trolls are well.
I get very few trolls anymore.
Yeah, you do. Well, because you're a good guy.
But
they understand you. Me, on the other hand, well, that's a different book. That's all right.
But again, Jacob, want to thank you. You've been very faithful these last few weeks, especially.
Oh yeah, anytime.
Steve has personal issues going on, so he can't always be on. And
Absolutely.
It's nice to have a few people that you can always say, hey, hop on here, because I'll be honest, I hate doing shows by myself.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't like it either. Yeah, next week, if Steve's not around, I'll come on and invite that Ohms Anonymous. He's a pretty cool guy.
He's invited every week.
Yeah.
That's why you need to get on Facebook.
Oh, I see.
Because
I don't do much Facebook.
I have one group of people that I'd send every day or every Tuesday, and now every Saturday, I send that link every time into that chat at least 10 to 15 minutes before the show. So, I mean, people get that link every week.
I see. Yeah, I haven't really. I think maybe once a month I'll go on there. I don't do much Facebook.
Oh, I mean, actually, we're streaming on Facebook right now.
Oh, we are. I see.
Yeah, because I have my restream set up to where it streams to Facebook.
Cool.
But, again, guys.
By the way, I'm getting my second monitor in this Friday.
Oh, good.
But I still need to get that 16 gigs of RAM. I have 8, but I need to get 16. I think I'll get that in about a couple weeks, and then you'll help me with that whole OBS thing.
Yeah, well, I got to get mine reset up because...
Yeah, you're going to have all
I don't know what's going on with Zoom that it keeps disconnecting from OBS. You might need
maybe you just need to reboot your computer.
I've tried that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know what in the world's going on. My computer's just been acting like a madman. I'm thinking what's probably going to have to happen is I never got a boot disk from the company. I'm thinking they're going to have to probably send me a Windows 10 reboot disk, and I'm going to have to reboot the whole thing.
Oh, well.
Because,
so you better save your programs, that's for sure.
Well,
Files.
what I'll do is I'll just pull like my OBS files and stuff like that, because I lost the whole setup I had for my live show. All that's lost. I've got to go redo that, but I got to see why this is not what's happening between this and that.
I see.
That's having it. I've had that issue since Saturday, that it's been messing up communication between OBS.
Could be a Trojan, maybe?
No, I don't think it's a Trojan, because what happened was I had installed the new Windows 10 update, and then it crashed on me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Steve and I
you're gonna
tried
have
to save it as good as we could, and now Windows 10 doesn't do automatic restore points, so there's no system restore point before it updated.
I see.
So I can't go back and do a system restore from before it updated.
Yeah, so you actually need to get a clean Windows 10 and make sure you don't update the latest version.
Well, no, I'll probably go ahead and update it full. I just don't know what happened. But if I have a Windows 10 disk, I can just redo it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's Windows. Windows has a ton of bugs. I mean, they always have bugs. And I don't understand why sometimes. But again, guys, don't forget, even though we don't really like them a lot, but they're great for you to help out, go out there, sign up for CASA. Baby Militia, I did not know until this week they're no more.
No.
So, but, go ahead, sign up for CASA. Get all the information you can. That's part of advocacy. We have, in movements, we have to know what's going on. And that's the main reason I tell you to go out there and actually sign up, because at least then you'll know what's going on. Go check out some of these advocacy Facebooks. I mean, I've actually considered, now that the Vaping Militia is done, calling us the Minuteman Militia. Now that the Vaping Militia is done, and call my viewers militiamen. Tell me what you think in the comments. Let me know. Should I call you guys militiamen and women? That's a good idea. I've thought of that since day one of the channel, but because of the Vaping Militia, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
But,
has a ring to it.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the whole thing. We have to fight. We have to know what we're fighting for. And those are all the things I try to communicate. What we're fighting for, who we're fighting, and how we need to fight. I am currently working on some of the flyers, and let me see if I can actually pull up, because I do want to give a shout out to one of my viewers as soon as I can find their picture, because they posted on my Facebook that they went out and actually did something. I don't know if they posted on Facebook or if they sent it to me in a message on the Facebook. Oh, here it is. Jennifer Dobbs, also known on YouTube as Anubis Vapor. I'm actually going to... I'm going to do a screen... Well, no, I won't do a... Well, I'll try a screen share and see if it works. And it didn't. And Steve, I believe the Vaping Militia, they have pushed for other advocacy groups. You know what? Let's just save link as. Oh no, cancel. Let's copy link address. Let's do that, and I'm going to post it in the actual browser source. You know, Jennifer, I really can't show a lot of it, and I'm sorry about that, but, I mean, she did something great for the industry. I know you probably, I don't know if you saw it when I did a screen share, but she hand wrote, please vote and support HR 1136 and 2194. Please save the vaping industry.
Yeah, we saw that.
Well, you saw it.
Oh, you don't know if they saw it.
Because I have issues.
Oh, I see.
For some reason, when I do browser sources, it really doesn't. And, you know, I'm telling you right now, where we should be looking as well is VapoVet. VapoVet, we should be looking to send donations to as well. Yes, it's not going directly to advocacy, but in my opinion, it's just as important of an advocacy method is going to VapoVet, because you're reaching out to our troops.
Sure.
So, I mean, to me, that's just as important.
Absolutely.
But Steve was actually saying that Dawn from Adore donated to the Vaping Militia, and that wondering if she was going to redirect her e-liquid donations to the AVA or Right to be Smoke Free or any of those. And I can't speak for Adore, but I'll tell you right now, I'm going to be sending the last few months, instead of EVCA, I'm going to be sending it to VapoVet and give them a little money to help out with the fight. I mean, it's not going to be a ton, but it's going to be something to help out with.
I'd rather you do it for the VapoVet than EVCA, that's for sure. You know where I stand at with that. So,
but don't forget, guys, when you come over to MinutemanVapors.com, use code NVR Live to get 10% off. That's a big one. You need to use that and get 10% off, because then off a $16 bottle, you get $1.60 off. And I'll tell you right now, in West Virginia, that cuts into my profit huge. But it's worth it to give the 10% off and the dollar off and the dollar toward advocacy. But it's well worth it. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, guys. We're going to close like we always do tonight. I'm going to drip a little bit of my Minuteman Valley Forge.
Because I'm going to drip Valley Forge too. It's great. Great juice. Awesome juice.
I refuse to get a dry hit. I've had too many of those in the past, and I refuse to get one. But don't forget, everybody, as always, and we always say this at the end of my videos, as well as NVR Live, you gotta fight.
Gotta fight
for your right
to
vape.
vape. Yeah.